That's true. I had some quality time with your son. Don't worry.
Actually hired my son to film for him for a good amount of the day, and then on Sunday, I literally was like, he's like, I could use your son again, and I'm like, dude, take him. And you drove him down hours away, and he filmed free all night. And I don't know what you did with him, but I respect it, because my son out of nowhere.
Don't say it like that.
No, my son out of nowhere.
There's a lot of holes in those stories.
My son. Pause. My son, when he was with Caleb, out of nowhere, like started texting me like, "Dad, I really appreciate how hard you work, and I love you, and thank you for being a good dad."
Please come get me. Oh, dang, I didn't get those texts. What the heck,
and I was
man?
like,
well, because you were
Caleb,
spending time with your son, right?
Next SoCal, I can babysit for you.
You'll get those texts too.
Seriously, one thing that I've learned when I do get the chance to spend time with young people, I always talk up their parents.
Well, thank you. I do.
Like, because that's it's. I think it's hard now to be a young person, and if there's one thing that I would love to impart to my younger self, it's like, dude, your dad is in your corner. You're really lucky to have the dad. Like, my dad is still around. He loves my mom. He loves all of us. And I'm like, man,
huge.
Yeah. I mean, you can't overstate that. Totally. So I was talking about it on our road trip, and boy, he is a great kid. I just have to say that. 15 years old, he was asking me like, hey, so how'd you get into YouTube? And like, making great conversation. I was like, man, at 15, if I was trapped in a car with a 30-year-old dude, I would have been like, get bent, old man.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you and my son get along better than you and I do when we're on road trips together.
Yeah, it's so weird. There were times on the trip where he like wouldn't talk. I was like, and I was like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah, Mom. Well, I do appreciate it though. I honestly I told Chanel before too, because my wife, she's like, is he good to go with him? Everything good? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm a big believer in like younger people. I was a youth leader at some point too, back in my younger days, where like I know the importance of like younger generation hearing like good words from like other men who aren't just their parents, because their parents are always going to tell them, I love you, you're a good kid, do this, do that, this is right, this is wrong. So when they hear it from other established, people in the world that aren't their parents, they suck that stuff in. My son's in the fire cadet program, and I think the same thing. I'm like, he's hearing from like these men who are like willing to serve, and die for people, like the honor of like being a good kid and like doing what's right. So
he's actually interested in stuff, because while we were putting like the VIP bags together, he was over helping me. He was asking me questions about my job. Like, he was like, he had genuine interest.
That's awesome.
So like, you do have a really good kid there. For
that
sure.
is important. Like, my son plays football, and he has coaches that are like such good coaches, and they always come over to talk to me and then talk about my son, and like they have their own thing going on, like a relationship. And I'm like, as obviously I'm his dad, but it's a dad relationship versus like a coach. It's just a different perspective, and I value that. I'm like, oh, thank God you have good coaches.
Yeah, go over and dap him up. What's up, bro?
Man, I'm like the worst. Caleb's like the dad, and then I'm over here just the bro.
You are like the bro. But you have a relationship with my son.
Yeah, but it's more like a bro, like mentorship.
But my son loves you, dude. He loves you, man. Like when I say Curtis is coming over, you actually should see his face. You should see his face light up, dude. He like loves to hang out with you. If I'm like, if I was like, oh, dude, you got to come help me, and he'd be like, really, I got to do it. But I'll be like, Curtis is going to be there, and I'll be like, oh, really? Like he wants to come.
Same with Brixton. Same thing.
Yeah. Like I remember Brixton texted me like one time. He was like, dude, my bike's dead. He texted his dad actually, and then I was like, I'm coming to get you, dude. Don't worry. You're gonna get chewed out, but I got you, bro.
Yeah, like he knew he was in trouble from me, and he like texted Curtis like for a little help out.
Yeah, I got him out of the jam.
I feel like because you're that guy, right? Yeah, you're just fun to be around.
Like the bro, and like I feel like that's how Troy. Like it's not like you're his friend his age. He just feels like you have his back. You can relate to him too.
Yeah, I don't have that mentorship vibe like that yet.
I think you do though.
Well,
you do.
Maybe a little bit.
I would say like just as a podcast of 5 dudes, like just how important it is to be willing to do that for other younger kids, even though what's tricky is there's a little bit of a stigma to it, right? Like taking an interest in like a young kid that's not your own. There can be some awkward perception there, but
of course. And
I don't know, I'm not a dad. I don't know how to navigate that. But I just would encourage any other men listening. Like I would encourage that.
And you need to be careful how you're interacting, because you don't know what the parenting style is of you. Like
totally.
My parenting style when I'm being friends with your son and we're having a conversation about his future and what he wants to do with his life is going to be different than yours.
Totally.
So you need to kind of navigate that correctly, right?
Yep.
I took on a mentorship. Like when I met Blake, he was 18.
Yeah.
He was like that's a young kid. I have a 20-year age gap with Blake.
Yeah.
And like I'll roll up sometimes. I'll be like, "Come on, Blake, get in the car." And like his dad's out in the house, and he's like, sometimes I'm like, "Is this weird?" Like, but it's not. Like because I've known him for so long. But I'm sure his parents at the beginning were probably like, "Well, who's this old good man you're rolling around with?" But like, you know what I mean? So there is that perception, and I'm aware of it for sure. And I was like telling you earlier, like Blake's 20 years younger. There's times it'll be like, "Hey, you want to like come out to the bar with my buddies?" And I'm like, "No, that's okay." Like I'm like the old guy. Dude, I don't need to go through that much. Like here's the line, man.
No, but there was a funny point at some time like this weekend, and Blake like had like the first day of like sales, and Natalie goes by and sees him just sitting by himself at a table eating wine, or not eating wine, but eating steak and wine, just chilling, just big dog stuff, dude, by himself. Yeah. He's a wild guy. I always say he's like one of the most interesting cats.
He is an interesting
guy.
Well, because he came on like under mentorship, if you want to call that, he was 18, and he'd be like, he's like a teenager, right? 18, 19. He's like, "Oh, you want to have a beer, like something?" I'm like, "I will not have a beer with you, a sip of alcohol, till you turn 21. Now, when he turned 21, I was like, "All right, we can go have a beer now."
Yeah.
But I'm not going to like, I didn't want to ever cross any line. So
the whole point of a mentorship, even in general, is like they're going to need to like you because they can trust you. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to right and wrong, that's when you're like, pause there. But we can still be bros and go play Call of Duty and goof around and do whatever.
Right.
So,
And Blake's got a really fun, like, he's silly and giggly, and then he's mature. Like, at the same time.
For his age, for
like
sure.
It's like he's got this really nice balance of the two.
Bro.
I know.
You did.
he is a reselling monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. It's funny. A little peddler. Yeah.
But he's got the hustle, so.
Yeah.